Pictures for Sad Children was a comic drawn and written by Simone Weil, and while the comic didn't have any overarching plot, it did contain a small cast of recognizable characters depicted in a minimalist black and white style, covering depressive and almost nihilistic themes. The comic was met to a lot of positive reception due to people liking the black humor, perhaps due to it pointing a nihilistic finger on things they recognize in their daily life. Simone Weil also posted a story called Stevie Might Be a Bear, Maybe, which supposedly got them money to help with their student loan, and would afterwards go into various comic projects, such as one where they'd post a comic every hour of a day, supposedly because they wished to show how they felt at any given hour of that day. Later, in 2007, they would finally start launching the comic Pictures for Sad Children. Simone would describe the webcomic as rooted in nihilism, apathy, and frustration, prodded gently and with love. They would also, in 2010, hold an art exhibition featuring depressive installations in the same style as Pictures for Sad Children. Due to the success of the comic, Simone would in 2012 launch a Kickstarter with a goal of $8,000 to create printed versions of Pictures for Sad Children. The campaign was a massive success, reaching a staggering number of $51,615. However, a few months after the campaign was done and over, Simone would publish a long post to the Kickstarter page. In it, Simone would claim that they had been pretending to be depressed in order to earn a profit, and would continue to state that their biggest regret was they had now made it easier for, quote, borderline people to trick themselves into thinking they were depressed as well. I've done a lot of soul searching and now believe it is my calling to be the first artist to admit to an audience I have been pretending to be depressed. Any work participating in the culture of depression has probably contributed to these sad, unnecessary cases. They would conclude the post by stating that they expected the book to be finished and delivered before the end of 2012. However, 2 years later, in 2014, Simone would now publish a blog post in which they confirmed that they'd been able to ship out about 75% of the Kickstarter rewards that they had promised, but that they were unable to ship any more copies because they had run out of money. Adding insult to injury, Simone would accompany this post with a video of them burning a pile of books with an attached threat that anyone asking for their copies would simply make them burn more. I shipped about 75% of Kickstarter rewards to backers. I will not be shipping any more. I will not be issuing any refunds. For every message I receive about this book through email, social media, or any other means, I will burn another book. They would furthermore add, if you would like a refund, please contact a fan of my work directly for your money. This is where the money would have come from anyway. I'm cutting out the middleman. I refunded some of the pre-orders I received through PayPal in addition to the Kickstarter orders, but I will not be refunding any more. The backers who gave me the most money received the least reward from me. After shipping costs, I lost money on most of the books I sold at the $25 level, so backers at the higher level, you could perceive of yourselves as having paid for the books that the lower backers currently have, and you could try to get those books that you paid for somehow. You could try to obtain refunds through Kickstarter or PayPal, through your bank or credit card company. You could try to harass me or inconvenience me or tell other people negative things about me or this Kickstarter in the hope that this will affect me negatively. Be aware that each attempt to contact me about this book will individually result in the burning of a book until the books are gone. And I want direct funding for my life necessities. I want to establish relationships with a group of people who can pay for my baseline needs like food and rent. I'm looking for people who do not feel the need to see any return on their investment. I'm looking for people who understand that money is a bad joke we use to hurt each other. I'm looking for people who, like me, were born with a lot of privileges, but who have had the awareness and emotional stability to keep their bucket under the faucet when the money comes out. I'm not looking for the support of anyone who wants a book or wants to see me put stick figure comics on the internet. I do not need the support of anyone who thinks that I will deserve to eat and sleep only after I have fulfilled some standard they've chosen to hold me to. I'm looking for people who believe that if you spend your life in a small room thinking you deserve to live and breathe the same amount as someone who spends their life doing intense physical or mental labor who has money that makes money. If you have been skimming this to get the gist of it, it is not going to work in my opinion. If you're reading this to summarize it for someone else, please yourself instead if possible.
They would end the blog by writing,
I do not feel a pressing need to establish a form of income right now, but I would be interested in reading ideas about money, and I would love to hear that there are people interested in meeting another person's needs directly with no hope for reward of any kind. I'd love to read intelligent thoughts about any of these things posted publicly. It's okay if that's not how things go. I'm trying to figure out what kind of world I live in and what is possible within it. Whatever happens, I will try to learn from it. I stopped reading my Kickstarter messages in January. I may not log into Kickstarter again. I don't know if I'll read the comments on this post. If I get a lot of emails, I will delete my email address. I'm not sure where I'll post next, or when, or what I'll say, or what will ever happen, but I look forward to it.
DNAinfo.com would also look into the Kickstarter and find that Simone had used $30,000 producing the books and for whatever reason spent even more to include a plastic-wrapped dead wasp in each copy, which in turn apparently didn't leave money for actual shipping. Perhaps due to the negative feedback of all of this, the webcomic was taken offline in 2014. Due to the comic no longer being available online, Kickstarter backer Jacob Weiss would post that if anyone was interested in reading the comic, he would send his physical copy to them as he had already finished reading it himself. Within just a week, more than 100 people had asked for the book, and Jacob would thus decide to send it to one of them along with $15 so that once they were done reading, they could send it to the next person who wanted to read it. This gave rise to people scanning their physical copies and sharing them around online as screenshots or PDFs. This in turn prompted further users to share screenshots of Simone's blog, audio interviews Simone had, and much more. Simone, however, expressed that they would prefer all of their presence online, including their comic, to be removed, which resulted in this arrangement dubbed Wise Book Club to become a more private affair. As of 2015, the Sad Children Book Club had ended and Google Drive used to share the comic ceased being accessible. Today, little is known about Simone Weil. While some publications have claimed that the Kickstarter debacle, as well as a later stunt where Simone would, for whatever reason, pretend to be an official Twitter account for the movie Birdman, until it was taken down, to be an artistic expression on various parts of society, money, and art, others have simply chalked their behavior up as irresponsible and weird. From interviews, it would seem like Simone does feel they have something to say, as they have compared what they did with their online career after Kickstarter to the 46-year-old climate change and cannabis activist Kathy Change, who doused herself in gasoline and set herself on fire on the University of Pennsylvania campus. And speaking of fire, Simone would also claim that the books they had burned had been misprints or just in general unsellable copies, and that all backers who had contributed more than $15 had absolutely received their copy. One thing is for certain, and that is Simone did burn their popularity as well as Pictures for Sad Children to the ground along with their books. So, what do you think? Did they do so for the sake of artistic expression, or perhaps of other reasons? Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, I would love to hear them. And if you have any more stories from the world of art and webcomics you'd like me to cover, please write them down below. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.